This morning, we are counting down to one of the most anticipated moments in March Madness. And we're not talking about tip-off tonight here in Arizona. We mean the annual montage of tournament highlights played after the game, set on the song One Shining Moment. CBS News special correspondent and NFL Today host James Brown tells us how the legendary music of the big dance began with a chance encounter in a bar.
The ball is tipped. There you are.
You're running for your life. He's not human.
For all the buzzer beaters
Garcia.
and Cinderella stories
An unlikely run to the Final Four for NC State.
that make March magic, it's what marks the end of each tournament, distilling the heroics and heartbreak that can make one shining, defining moment last forever. Like this floor-length pass in 1992 from Duke's Grant Hill to Christian Laettner. Soon set to music.
When it's done.
Or Steph Curry's 2008 Cinderella run with Davidson.
Young fella.
But the iconic music of the big dance began on a bar napkin one night in the 80s. And Michigan musician David Barrett wasn't alone.
This lovely waitress showed up, so I tried to explain to her the poetry of basketball.
The poetry of basketball.
Oh, sure.
Had she asked you a question?
No,
or,
I was just
or this was your
panicked. I had
opening?
nothing to say.
Okay.
And so there she was, and
There you are.
then after she wandered away, grabbed a napkin and wrote down One Shining Moment.
The music came to him the next morning.
Sat down on the piano, and I'll bet you it took me 20 minutes to write.
Barrett only shared the song with a few friends and didn't realize one of them, Armin Katayan, had sent it to CBS until its creative director called.
He said, "Would you mind if we used it for the Super Bowl?"
Excuse me?
Yeah.
In 1987, Barrett waited for his moment and watched as Brent Musburger used the words.
Their first Super Bowl triumph, a shining moment they will never forget.
But CBS's Super Bowl broadcast ended before getting to the song.
How disappointed were you that it did not happen?
Oh, yeah, tears on my pillow.
Then CBS called back.
Would you mind if we used it for March Madness?
And of course you said, nah.
I'm busy.
And I was there in 1987.
A tough loss to say the least.
The first time CBS played One Shining Moment.
Just how hard you work.
Back then performed by Barrett himself. Over the years, others like Jennifer Hudson and Luther Vandross both recorded versions.
Luther, that was the last song he sang.
Today, it's a tournament tradition for the winning team to stay on the court and watch the montage together, just as Barrett, his wife Tracy, and their daughters have done at over a dozen Final Fours.
3 seconds, Waters to the rim, layup, good!
But for all its success, for years, that woman Barrett met that night at the bar never even knew about the song.
From the first four to the Final Four!
Until that former server, Jan Shoemaker,
ran into a mutual friend of ours, and he mentioned you and the song and the story, and that was the first I had heard of song and story.
I thought he was in prison by then.
but she did remember Barrett forever changed how she looked at basketball.
To me, it looked like a bunch of overgrown guys sweating it up on the court, which is what I said. And he came right back with, "You don't know anything." I thought, well, that's interesting. And he went on then to explain, once in a while, there is the perfect move. And I thought, well, that's like writing poetry. That's like coming upon the rare, perfect word. And I got it. I got it for the first time. That sport was beautiful.
But you didn't stay seated at the bar very long.
Well, I was done with my shift. I'm sure I drank my drink and was ready to go.
It's more than a contest. It's more.
Just like the athletes his song immortalizes, Barrett had found his moment and made it shine.
When you get it right, it has a different heartbeat, because it's not all about winning. It's about showing up, trying, failing, getting up, win or lose. We always did our best because inside we knew.
Wow, you know what, over the years, well, first of all, let me give credit to Lee Childs and of course to Brian Cunningham for putting that piece together, but one shining moment over the years has played at weddings and funerals, and Jan Shoemaker, the woman who helped inspire the song, she went on to become an author and English teacher, and she used those lyrics to One Shining Moment to help her male sports-crazed students connect with poetry, and I'm not sure if most of America knows that our Nate Burleson is a poet extraordinaire. Hey, Nate.
Well, I appreciate that, JB. Hey, that was beautiful, man. I love listening to One Shining Moment and looking at your one shining afro back in the day. My man, JB, I love you, baby.
I knew you were going there.
CBS Sports and TNT Sports coverage of March Madness concludes tonight at 9:20 p.m. Eastern with the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship game on TBS.